Okay, we are up to Perek Vav Mishnah Gimel, the sixth Perek, third Mishnah. Kohen Levi shekibel sadam Yisrael. If a Kohen or Levi accepts to work a field for Yisrael to get whatever portion of the produce he gets, kashem shecholkim b'chulin kacholkim b'truma. So the first Tana, the Truma, they split equally. So each one will take whatever the agreed upon percentages are of the produce. And the Truma, they'll get proportionally, and they'll be able to give to whoever he wants. The Yisrael does not have to give it to the Kohen who's working for him. Rabbi Elazar says, "Af ha-Ma'aser shalhem." It's true not only for Truma, but he said, Rabbi Elazar, not only does the Truma go to the Kohen, even the Ma'aser would go to the Levi. Because it's the understanding that I'm agreeing to work your field basically on condition that you give me that additional portion that doesn't have much value to you and is much more valuable to me. Mishnah Daled. Yisrael shekibel mikayin. If a Yisrael accepts a field from a Kohen, Umi Levi, so now you have the opposite. The owner of the field is a Kohen or Levi and the worker is Yisrael. Ha-Ma'aser Leviim. So here it's flipped. Here the first titles are flipped. The Ma'aser, the owner keeps the Ma'aser, and this is easier to do than the previous case where we had a machlokas whether it goes to the worker or not, because the worker acquiring the Ma'aser is something that's missing any mechanism of creating a kinyan, as opposed to over here the owners keeping the Ma'aser is the way they do that is they just maintain the rights to a certain percentage of to 10% of their field. That would make the Ma'aser theirs. Rabbi Shmuel says similarly, Hakarchati, a villager, Shekibel Hatzada beYerushalmi, who agrees to work a field that belongs to someone who lives in Yerushalayim, Ma'aser Sheni Shel Yerushalmi. You have the same assumption that that the Ma'aser Sheni is much more valuable to the person who lives in Yerushalayim because he could eat it at home than the guy who lives in the random village. So there's this assumed understanding that the one who lives in Yerushalayim is going to be the one to get the field. The Chum say no. No, villagers also could go up to Yerushalayim and eat Ma'aser Sheni there. It's not like Ma'aser that a Levi that a Yisrael can't eat. He has to be given to a Levi. So by Ma'aser Sheni, there's no such. The Chum say there's no such agreement that the person who lives in Yerushalayim should automatically be the one who's entitled to the Ma'aser Sheni. Mishnah Hey, Hamakabel Zeisim L'Shemen. Someone who agrees to take olives and make them into oil. So, Kashem Shecholkin B'chulin Kacholkin B'Truma. Again, the same din we had by working a field. Here, since you're going to take the Truma later, so we split everything. If you give me your olives and I'm going to make them into oil, and you'll give me 25% of the oil. So, my oil I'm going to have to take Truma on, and your oil you're going to take Truma on. Or Yehuda Amar. Similar to the previous Mishnah, Yisrael shekibel mikayin milevi zeisav l'shem. If the owner of the olives is a Kohen or Levi, and the one making the oil is the Yisrael, let's say the agreement is that they'll split the profit 50-50. Still, ha-Ma'aser Leviim, again the same idea as the previous Mishnah, that since the Kohen or Levi can eat the Ma'aser, it's much more valuable to them than to the workers Yisrael, so it's understood that they get that 10%, and the remaining 90% they'll split 50-50. Mishnah Vav. Beishamai say, L'yimacher adam es zeisav ela l'chaver. A person can only sell his olives to a chaver, to someone who will make sure to keep them tahar. Beis Hillel, no. Af l'Ma'aser, it's good enough to sell them to somebody who you trust to take off Ma'aser. You don't have to have someone who you trust to keep them tar. However, v'tsnui Beis Hillel, the more righteous members of Beis Hillel, they acted like this chumrah of Beis Shammai, that they would not sell their olives to someone who they suspected might make them tameh. Okay, let's stop here.